Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. This is Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Well, I hadn't watered this channel for a little bit. Things are pretty busy here, but I just did a live stream yesterday on what ADME/drug metabolism are or is as a field. If you're curious as to what those are, check out that live stream. It's got some technical aspects to it, but I tried to distill it down so that it's easily understandable for the lay person. But this video is about some breaking news. I woke up this morning to a text from one of my mentors regarding the coronavirus vaccine, and I've uploaded content on that here on Big Discussions 76 Science and Technology regarding the regulatory process and how long a coronavirus vaccine would take. So this is a surprise to me. It's a welcome surprise, and there are a lot of ways in which I can go with this news, but with this being a science channel, I'm just going to stick to the science of it. I was going to just kind of talk my way through this upload and maybe not read the article verbatim, but this is from the New York Times, and everyone might not have access to the New York Times, even though I'm going to leave the link in the video description box below. So I'm going to read this through verbatim and then close with a few points. And I'm not sure that I'll even put music under this one because I have a lot to do today. This is entitled, "Pfizer's early data shows vaccine is more than 90% effective. Pfizer announced positive early results from its coronavirus vaccine trial, cementing the lead in a frenzied global race that has unfolded at record-breaking speed." There's a picture here of a gentleman with his arms crossed and his fingers under his chin. This is Dr. Albert Bourla. I think I pronounced that correctly. Pfizer's CEO was in occasional contact with President Trump on the vaccine's timeline. Every time I spoke with the president, I told him that he should not worry about us compromising safety or efficacy, but that we would do it as quickly as science allows us, said Dr. Bourla. To me, that's significant. And I don't want to make this a political video because this is my science channel. But in my content about the virus and vaccines, I did talk about the safety aspect in the context of regulatory affairs. But it's interesting that they were in discussions even before this whole election cycle, this whole controversial election cycle. The other thing looking at this is Pfizer had a branch in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I went to graduate school at the University of Michigan, and I did want to work for Pfizer at one point, but that didn't come through to fruition. Let me mute this over here. Give me a second. The drug maker Pfizer announced on Monday that an early analysis of its coronavirus vaccine trial suggested the vaccine was robustly effective in preventing COVID-19, a promising development as the world has waited anxiously for any positive news about a pandemic that has killed more than 1.2 million people. Pfizer, which developed the vaccine with the German drug maker BioNTech, released only sparse details from its clinical trial based on the first formal review of the data by an outside panel of experts. The company said that the analysis found that the vaccine was more than 90% effective in preventing the disease among trial volunteers who had no evidence of prior coronavirus infection. If the results hold up, that level of protection would put it on par with highly effective childhood vaccines for diseases such as measles. No serious safety concerns have been observed, the company said. Pfizer plans to ask the Food and Drug Administration for emergency authorization of the 2-dose vaccine later this month, after it has collected the recommended 2 months of safety data. By the end of the year, it will have manufactured enough doses to immunize 15 to 20 million people, company executives have said. This is a historical moment, Catherine Jansen, a senior vice president and the head of vaccine research and development at Pfizer, said in an interview. This was a devastating situation, a pandemic, and we have embarked on a path and a goal that nobody ever has achieved, to come up with a vaccine within a year. Independent scientists have cautioned against hyping early results before long-term safety and efficacy data has been collected, and no one knows how long the vaccine's protection might last. Still, the development makes Pfizer the first company to announce positive results from a late-stage vaccine trial, vaulting into the front of a frenzied global race that began in January and has unfolded at record-breaking speed. 11 vaccines are in late-stage trials, including 4 in the United States. Pfizer's progress could bode well for Moderna's vaccine, which uses similar technology. A Moderna spokesman said that it expected interim findings from its study this month. The news comes just 8 days after Joseph R. Biden Jr. clinched a victory over President Trump in the presidential election. Mr. Trump had repeatedly hinted a vaccine would be ready before Election Day, November 3rd. This fall, Pfizer's chief executive, Albert Bourla, frequently claimed that the company could have a readout by October, something that did not come to pass. Operation Warp Speed, the federal effort to rush a vaccine to market, has promised Pfizer $1.95 billion to deliver 100 million doses to the federal government, which will be given to Americans free of charge. But Dr. Jansen sought to distance the company from Operation Warp Speed and presidential politics, noting that the company, unlike the other vaccine frontrunners, did not take any federal money to help pay for research and development. "We were never a part of Warp Speed," she said. "We have never taken any money from the U.S. government or from anyone." She said she learned of the results from the outside panel of experts shortly after 1 p.m. on Sunday, and that the timing was not influenced by the election. "We have always said that science is driving how we conduct ourselves, not politics," she said. The data released by Pfizer Monday was delivered in a news release, not a peer-reviewed medical journal. It is not conclusive evidence that the vaccine is safe and effective, and the initial finding of more than 90% efficacy could change as the trial goes on. "We need to see actual data, and we're going to need longer-term results," said Jesse Goodman, a professor of medicine and infectious diseases at Georgetown University. Still, he said, "It's a testament to hard work and science that we're getting results that are so good and so fast." Other scientists were stunned by the data so far. "This is really a spectacular number," said Keiko Iwasaki, an immunologist at Yale University. I wasn't expecting it to be this high. I was preparing myself for something like 55%. If the final vaccine ends up with that level of efficacy, it would be higher than your regular flu vaccine. And this vaccine could have a serious impact on bending the curve of this outbreak, said Dr. Syed B. Omer, the director of the Yale Institute for Global Health. Dr. Jansen said that because the trial is continuing, an independent board reviewing the data has not told her or other company executives other details, such as how many of the people developed mild versus more severe forms of COVID-19. Crucial information that FDA has said it will need to evaluate any coronavirus vaccine. The agency has also asked for other detailed data that could take weeks to review, including about how the company plans to manufacture millions of doses and ensure that the product is consistent and safe. The trial is expected to continue until 164 people in the 44,000 person trial have developed COVID-19, and will also evaluate how well it protects against developing severe forms of the disease and how well the vaccine protects people who have already been infected with the coronavirus. Half of the participants received 2 doses of the vaccine and half received a placebo. The first analysis was based on 94 volunteers who developed COVID-19. Dr. Jansen said the outside board did not say how many of these cases came from participants who had been vaccinated, but with a rate of more than 90% effectiveness, most had to have been in the placebo group. Dr. Jansen said the global surge in coronavirus infections contributed to the speed with which participants in the trial got infected with the virus. You can see for yourself the rates are going up everywhere, she said. So we think based on our predictions, it shouldn't take us very long to get 164 cases of COVID-19. Dr. Paul Offit, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania and a member of the FDA's vaccine advisory panel, said the news that Pfizer's trial was progressing quickly was a good sign for other trials too. If there's any silver lining in the fact that our country is currently on fire with this virus, is that these trials can reach a conclusion much quicker than otherwise, he said. Work on the vaccine began in Mainz, Germany in late January, when Ugur Sahin, the chief executive and co-founder of BioNTech, read about the virus in the Lancet and filled him with dread. I almost instantly knew this would affect us, Mr. Sahin said in an interview. That same day, the first European cases were detected in France. Mr. Sahin assembled a 40-person team to work on the vaccine. Many employees canceled vacations, and Mr. Sahin authorized overtime pay. They called it Project Lightspeed. BioNTech used a technology that had never been approved for use in people. It takes genetic material called messenger RNA and injects it into muscle cells, which treat it like instructions for building a protein found on the surface of the coronavirus. The proteins then stimulate the immune system and are believed to result in long-lasting protection against the virus. Other companies, including Moderna, are also using messenger RNA technology. BioNTech quickly identified 20 vaccine candidates and began testing them on rodents, but the company lacked the experience and resources to rapidly conduct a major clinical trial. So Mr. Sahin called Pfizer. The two companies had been working to develop a flu vaccine since 2018, and within a day of Mr. Sahin calling Dr. Jansen at Pfizer, the companies agreed to partner on a coronavirus vaccine. In mid-March, the companies announced their partnership. After early human trials, they determined that 2 vaccine candidates produced a robust immune response, including antibodies against the virus and powerful immune cells known as T cells. They chose the one with fewer side effects to start a trial with more than 30,000 volunteers in the United States, Argentina, Brazil, and Germany. In September, the company expanded the trial to 44,000 participants. Even before it began, the Trump administration placed a bet that Pfizer and BioNTech would succeed, announcing its Even before it began, the Trump administration placed a bet that Pfizer and BioNTech would succeed, announcing its advance purchase deal on July 22nd. At the time, it was the largest such commitment from the U.S. government. From time to time over the past 7 months, while working from his home in the affluent suburb of Scarsdale, New York, Dr. Borla spoke with Mr. Trump, who had tied progress on a vaccine to his election hopes. Mr. Borla said the president pressed for details about when the vaccine might be ready. Every time I spoke with the president, I told him that he should not worry about us compromising safety or efficacy, but that we would do it as quickly as science allows us, he said. Late this summer, as the president made public pronouncements, about a vaccine coming soon, Dr. Borla boarded a Pfizer jet to Frankfurt to pick up Mr. Sahin. The two men were meeting face to face for the first time, but there was little time for pleasantries or even science. As they descended towards a factory in Austria that would produce their vaccine, they discussed how to ensure a wary public would trust their vaccine. Days later, Pfizer organized an effort by major drug companies to pledge that any coronavirus vaccine would stand up to scientific scrutiny. In another move to shore up public confidence and after criticism from outside researchers, Pfizer and other companies took the usual step of releasing their trial blueprints known as protocols, revealing typically secret details about how it was evaluating its vaccine. 2 days after Mr. Trump called out Pfizer by name in the first presidential debate, saying it and other vaccine makers were being hampered by politics, Dr. Borla emailed Pfizer employees. "We are approaching our goal," he wrote, "and despite not having any political considerations with our pre-announced date, we find ourselves in the crucible of the U.S. presidential election." The trial's protocol allowed 4 interim analyses, early looks that would give the outside board of experts a chance to identify safety concerns and assess whether the vaccine was working. Outside of this panel, no one, not doctors or company officials, were allowed to know which participants received the vaccine or a placebo. The first interim analysis was supposed to have taken place after 32 people in the study developed COVID-19, but the company said that after discussing the matter with the FDA, it decided to wait until the second analysis, 62 cases. During its discussion with the agency, 32 additional cases quickly accrued. When everything was done and dotted and we could actually do the analysis, it turned out we had even far more than we expected, said Dr. Jansen. So the House panel reviewed 94 cases, more than half the number needed to complete the trial. Wide distribution of Pfizer's vaccine will be a logistical challenge because it is made with mRNA. The doses will need to be kept at ultra-cold temperatures. While Pfizer has developed a special cooler to transport the vaccine, equipped with GPS-enabled thermal sensors, it remains unclear where people will receive the shots and what role the government will play in distribution. Adding to the challenge, people will need to return 3 weeks later for a second dose to complete the immunization. Most experts say the world will need many treatments and vaccines to bring an end to the pandemic. There's a lot at stake for humanity, Dr. Borla said. If we get it right, the world can be saved. So that's the article. If it sounds like my voice increased in decibel level during this video, the groundskeepers here at my dwelling decided to come by and do their groundskeeping. Coincidentally, while I was recording this video, so that's why that happened. But that's the article. I woke up to this. My mentor sent a text out to our group saying that the Dow was up. So this is certainly an important piece of information. It's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. They have to check and make sure that in terms of safety and efficacy, that this thing checks out. Another significant challenge is public perception. There are a lot of people and conspiracy theorists out there who think that there's something evil and nefarious about any of these vaccines that get generated. And there was an article last week that I posted on Facebook where Bill Gates sounded off on this, and I might leave that in the description box below. So public perception and public trust are going to be huge for this thing. Again, I don't want to get into the politics of this. I might record some stuff over on my original channel where I discuss general topics, but I do find it interesting and fascinating that the CEO of Pfizer was in fact in discussions with number 45. And during the debates, when he was proclaiming we're going to have one real soon, we're going to have a nice functional vaccine for you real soon, based upon what I knew about the production process and all the regulations that have to be contended with, every time he said that, I was kind of saying to myself, oh my God, why does he keep saying that? Why does he keep saying that? Well, he was in discussions with the CEO of Pfizer. So there you have it. The other thing I'll say about this, in terms of general science, and we talked about this when I was at the University of Michigan as a graduate student. Oftentimes, scientists themselves make good managers of pharmaceutical companies and biotech companies. So it's very, very, that stood out to me as I was reading this, that what's this gentleman's name? Dr. Albert Bourla is he's either a physician or he is a PhD scientist of some sort. I'm not familiar with this gentleman. So I'm going to stop this here. This went a little longer than I wanted it to. And based upon its length, I might put some music under this for you all so that it's a little more easily digestible. So thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. There's going to be some more cool content emerging from big discussions, 76 science and technology related to this and related to the tech sector. So stay tuned. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to donate to the channel, I'm going to leave my PayPal and Cash App below. And as always, remember, stay healthy, stay safe, and as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.